for it?
Well, we certainly have got a bunch of games. In addition to those, Mississippi State in Baton Rouge to take on LSU 8 days from today. Mike Leach is the head coach at Mississippi State. He joins us on the Farm Bureau phone line. Coach, know you got a bunch going on. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes of time this afternoon. You've been a part of a bunch of football seasons. You seem like, generally speaking, you're fairly even-keeled. What's your level of excitement at this point for a season that has been fraught with peril and getting ready for it, now being just 8 days away?
Well, I think we're all excited and thrilled that we get to play because, that's something they almost took away from us, and thank goodness they didn't. And, of course, everybody wants to be safe, but that's a big part of our country and the fans and the players involved to have the privilege of playing. And so, I think that is, I think we're all excited about that. And the other thing is what you realize you miss a little bit is how excited it is to be together. Just to be with one another, doing stuff at the same time. So we're excited about the season, but we need to steadily improve. We need to get better every day, and we need to, the biggest thing is keep kind of discovering what our threshold is and what we are able to do, and keep pushing that.
What you do offensively is well known, and there hasn't been a ton of wiggle room about the way you've gone about things offensively. You've certainly evolved some through the years, but given the preparation and the lead up and the disjointed nature of this offseason, is it going to look like it always has, or are you going to have to do some things differently than maybe you've done in the past?
I think it will. The spring sure would have been handy. I think, and I think this applies to a lot of teams. I think maybe a little simpler in a number of phases. I think that what you can execute is what you can run. I mean, coaches sometimes like to draw all kinds of stuff on the board, and I'm certainly guilty of it, drawing all this up, that up, and, hey, we'll just have them do this. Oh, that's just one thing. That'll be easy. And then so pretty soon after one more easy, 31 more easy things, then nothing's easy, And so I think it's really important that we have the discipline to kind of shave this thing down to where it's manageable and to where our players can really take a hold of it and go full speed without any hesitation. And, and then you have the chance to put your best foot forward. And then, of course, effort's all wrapped up into that. And if you have great effort, then you can be the best you can be. If you're the best you can be, you'll be better than the guys that you're better than anyway, and you'll have a chance to take down some of them that may be more talented than you if they aren't firing on all cylinders, and you are. And so, I mean, your best is all you got. You try to get it every time, and then you can change the ceiling on your abilities and keep pushing it upward.
Hey, Coach, it's Brian Haydad. We talked to you last night, and you talked about your team having confidence. The success breeds confidence. Confidence breeds success. As the head coach, what can you do to instill confidence in your team?
We talk to our team about body language and how they carry themselves and how they respond to adversity and how they respond to something good happening. And I think that's where it starts. I mean, it's none of us are perfect on that, but if I walk past you and you have great body language and you're confident, then, it helps me, and then maybe I help the next guy. And so, you try to do what you can to make it contagious. And it all starts with being really excited to play, and then if you can get everybody playing hard, then you'll discover somebody can, do something today they couldn't yesterday, and then that raises the excitement level too.
When you think about KJ Costello, obviously you coached against him at Washington State when he was at Stanford. Now you've had the chance to work with him this past month and a half. Has it been about what you expected with him, bringing him in? Has he been able to deliver on all the things you hoped he would?
He's a lot like what I expected. I had a pretty good look at him. We played against him twice. And then I remembered him from high school. He went to high school. You got, and just this kind of a sort of a nuance of the deal. Santa Margarita High School is a high school down there in Southern California, and as luck would have it, we had about 7 or 8 of those guys at Washington State over a period of time. Some were walk-ons, but a bunch were scholarship guys, and several were scholarship guys that fans may have heard of. As a matter of fact, River Craycraft's with the 49ers right now, and then Riley Sorensen, he was our starting center, and on several of those really good teams we had up there, and Nick Begg, I think, had as big impact on our program as anybody. But anyway, all those guys. Kyle Sweet's another one. But all those guys played with KJ. So it's kind of like KJ knew a lot about us, and we knew a lot about KJ, and kind of vicariously. And so, yeah, he has been pretty much what I expected. He's a big, strong guy, throws very accurately, smart. Does a pretty good job playing with quick tempo. I'd say maybe better than I expected. So,
Mike Leach visiting with us, SportsTalk Mississippi this afternoon. Coach, I was intrigued by the announcement you made that Garrett Schrader was making the move to receiver, and I guess primarily in the slot. He's such a big guy. He's got great ability in the open field. We've seen that in the past with him running. Can he catch? And what's the transition going to be like for him from quarterback to a receiver?
Well, he seems excited about the new challenge, and he's really athletic, and he's tough. So I'm kind of curious myself. I'm kind of excited about this whole thing as well, just to see what Garrett can do.
What was his reaction, and what was that conversation like where you guys talked about a position move to kind of maybe try and get him on the field into a spot that he could help the team?
Well, he's a really talented guy, and he knows he's a real talented guy. And then as far as picking up the offense, I had him a little behind, and I think he agreed with that. But other guys, it was a little more automatic for him, and that sort of thing. The other thing, to be a quarterback, you really kind of have to be a film junkie, And I don't know hardly any good quarterbacks that aren't. I mean, they're sitting in front of that projector all the time to the point where their family and friends are telling them, "Hey, it's time to shut that off." Kind of almost. The only way to solve a problem is admit you have one, and you have a serious problem. So,
but now that category.
Yeah, I do. I have a love-hate relationship with film. I do watch quite a lot of film. I can't say I always like it, but you have to be good at it, and you have to do it a lot if you're going to have a good team. And then, you get fulfilled by seeing really good execution. You get fulfilled by seeing guys improve, like I say, doing something that they couldn't do the day before. And, and I think he's more of a tangible on the field, give me the ball kind of guy, which, so from that standpoint, receiver fits him a little better. The other thing that's kind of exciting about him, if we get him all tuned in, he's the kind of guy you can move around, inside receiver, outside receiver. We got to get him in shape because he's a naturally really fast guy, but we got to keep him fast for 4 quarters. And but he's a fun guy to coach. He's always in kind of a mellow mood.
Kind of switching gears just for a second, because of all the different places you've been, sometimes from a recruiting standpoint, it feels like certain coaches will get locked into parts of the country that they are familiar with. But you've been at Kentucky and Oklahoma, and you've coached in Texas, and you've coached in the Pacific Northwest, and now back in the SEC. Is that an advantage to you, and does it change maybe your philosophy from a recruiting standpoint in comparison to the way that some others would approach it?
I think it helps as far as adjustment to different situations. I think it helps as far as adjustment. I think that recruiting, I've never bought into this stuff, and it's a fact. I mean, sometimes it hurts, different locales' feelings. I mean, you have to be from Texas to recruit in Texas. So no, you don't. I would have been out of business if you had to be. You have to be from the South to recruit the South. No, you don't. These LA kids aren't going to talk to anybody who's not from Southern California. Yes, they are. Recruiting's persistence. Everybody thinks of a great recruiter as some charismatic car salesman kind of guy, and I haven't found that to be the case. I've found that the best recruiters are persistent people. I mean, persistent. I mean, I can think of some guys who are great recruiters. They strike fear in me if they're on the same guy we are. I mean, kind of a dull, bland personality in some cases. I mean, they're all over. First of all, they're all over the map. You can't pinpoint them. Some have dull, boring personality. Some are smart, some are dumb, some are flashy, some aren't. But I'll tell you the one thing that they do, the good ones have in common, they are persistent. Number one, persistence. Number two, be a good phone guy. Because I think the phone is way underrated. Be a good phone guy. And so I think they come in all different shapes and sizes. I think persistence is the key. And I didn't deliberately try to live all over the country, although I like that I have. I mean, it's because I'm a very curious person, and so you have an opportunity to see the lay of the land all over, and you discover that, both things. Yes, our country's very different, but also we all have way more in common than we think. But I was adding it up the other day, all the places I lived, and it's a long list. I mean, I think it's over 20. Well, I think it maybe, let's see, not counting when we moved within the same town, because my dad did like to, here's a house, let's flip it, let's get this house, fix it up, and let's get that one. So in the same town, we might have three houses. So
your dad and I would get along.
Oh, he loves that. He loves that stuff. And then he always says, I'll never build a house again, from scratch. And he did it like 3 times and swore he'd never do it again. And I followed that advice of never do it again. And then, but I was born in Susanville, California, then Fall River Mills, California, then Alexandria, Virginia, then Saratoga, Wyoming, then Fort Collins, Colorado, then Golden, Colorado, then Sheridan, Wyoming, then Cody, Wyoming, then Provo, Utah, then Los Angeles, California, then, from Los Angeles, then Daphne, Alabama, then San Luis Obispo, California, then Palm Desert, California, then Pori, Finland, then Mount Pleasant, Iowa, then Valdosta, Georgia, then Lexington, Kentucky, then Norman, Oklahoma, then Lubbock, Texas, then Key West, Florida, then Pullman, Washington, and then Starkville, Mississippi. So, and I might have left a place or two out if I just spaced it. So
we're not going to hold it against you if you have left a place or two out. It's a remarkable journey, and I know Mississippi State fans are excited about that journey beginning in earnest in 8 days. Coach, the time is always too short. We appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this afternoon, and certainly look forward to talking to you soon and wish you the best throughout the season.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and I really appreciate it.
We'll talk to you soon. That's
Thanks,
Mike
Coach.
Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State. If you need to know how to run the air raid, he can help you with that. And if you need a geography lesson, you got it. You've got it from Cody, Wyoming to Key West to Finland to Starkville and all points in between. Mike Leach, the incomparable one. Sports Talk.